have this theory that everyone on earth has one unhelpful habit that, if they got rid of it, would cause a huge domino effect on their life. I'm talking an increase in happiness, health, vitality, energy, time. These are domino habits. They're habits that have a chain effect. And in this video, I want to talk about how to find the one domino habit that, if removed from your life, would have the biggest impact, and how to remove it from your life. So the first step to finding your one habit that, if removed from your life, would have the biggest impact is to just start writing down a list of all of your unhelpful habits. Of course, there are external, very visible habits like social media or like drinking too many glasses of wine a night, impulse buying, etc., etc. But if you're like, oh, I don't really have any of that kind of stuff, or that kind of stuff doesn't feel like it's making that big of a difference on my life, go one layer deeper and start to look at your mental habits. You may not have an impulse buying habit, but if you have a rumination habit, I know that's having just as big of an impact on your life as the person with an impulse shopping problem. Maybe you're not getting takeaway every day, but maybe you are judging people really hardcore and it's leading you to judge yourself really hardcore. That is a mental habit. Whether you like it or not, that little habit loop of cue, habit, reward is going off over and over again in your brain when it comes to judging other people. Those inner habits can be just as draining and damaging as the more external, visible habits. Step 2 is where it gets fun and where it gets focused. Create a list of your top, 3 to 5 habits of those that you've written down that you're like, oof, they really impact my life. And start asking yourself these questions. If this habit were removed, how much extra time would I have per week? If this habit were gone, dead, done, how many more hours of mental clarity would I have per week? How much more money could I potentially make per week? How much emotional stability would I gain per week? You can also reverse those questions around if you're really just looking for the one habit you want to add to your life, and ask, if this habit were added to my life, how much money, time, energy, etc. would be added to my life? Which leads us to step number 3. Ask yourself a few clarifying questions to get really clear on what your one domino habit is. So especially if you are in like fresh start planning mode, there's probably so many things that you want to do, and picking just one thing is in a way risky because it's saying no to all of the other potential pathways that you could take. Think of yourself like a player that's in the dating game, and picking your one thing is like committing to one person, which means that you have to say no to a bunch of other like potentially great people too. There's risk to it. There's a trade-off effect. There is a lot of comfort in never prioritizing anything. Sometimes you just need the right question posed to your brain that just like scratches the right itch to help you to prioritize and to take the risk. My personal favorite question is, if you had to place a bet on which one of these habits, if removed, would have the biggest impact on your life in the next 3 to 5 years, which habit would you be placing the bet on? I like this because it is realistic. Every decision that you make is just a bet, and accepting that reality makes it a lot easier to make decisions. A few other questions that you can ask yourself are, of these habits, what's the one that, if removed, would make everything else easier or unnecessary? If future you could look back and thank yourself for removing just one habit, which one do you think that they'd thank you for the most? Which moves us to step number 4. How do you actually get rid of this habit? All habits, good or bad, have an underlying system that keeps them going. Our brains don't really do things for no reason. Either it thinks that this one habit is protecting you in some way and helping you in some way, or it finds that behavior rewarding in some weird way. Like, there is a big reward that comes from doing this habit over and over again. Otherwise, it would not keep you in that habit loop, which is why this step is about getting clear on what reward are you getting and what is the system that is like keeping this habit reinforcing itself. Why does my brain feel the need to constantly play this system out? A system behind a habit plays out like this. There's a cue. Often this is an external event or a feeling or a sensation or even a smell. So for example, if you have a bad habit of snoozing the alarm, the cue would be waking up to the alarm. Then the system starts to play out. So then you've got feelings, sensations. For example, you might feel resistance to the alarm, annoyed, a sense of brain fog, and thoughts, a thought of, oh God, like I just need 20 more minutes. Then there's your behavior, so turning the alarm off. The reward is obvious, comfort, coziness, no pressure to do things, more sleep. And then you've got your result, which is scrambling to get ready in the morning, feeling rushed, under pressure, cursing yourself for sleeping in again. Sometimes a funny thing happens when you map out the system, you become conscious of the system so that when it starts playing out, you actually become aware of it. And sometimes that's all you need to stop it. But there are a few different ways to interrupt a system that keeps on playing out in your life. The first option is a weird one, but hear me out. Watch your system play out 10 to 15 times with deep mindfulness. Right now, your difficult habit is 100% automatic. You're not even thinking about it, it just happens. Deep mindfulness is about noticing when your habit has been triggered, when that system is playing out, stepping back and just like watching it happen, noticing it deeply, noticing not only the reward but also the results deeply and really connecting in your mind those results with the habit. Sometimes just doing this is all that's needed for the system to change itself naturally. It makes your brain so conscious that what it's doing is not rewarding that it naturally starts to give you that cue a little less. The second option, which I also love, is changing your environment so that the system doesn't even have a chance to play out. For example, I would snooze my alarm if my alarm was right next to me every morning. I love being comfortable and cozy in the morning. Like, I would not be getting out of bed, but I know myself well, so I put my alarm eons away so that I have to get up and walk to it to turn it off. The system doesn't even get a chance to play out because I've designed the environment so it's not possible. Option number 3 is change how you respond to those thoughts and feelings that arise. Every single habit loop involves thoughts and feelings, and when you become aware of the thoughts and feelings, you can change how you respond to them. Keep in mind, you don't choose your thoughts and feelings. You don't go to the store and go, you know what I want to feel? Craving, procrastination, resistance. But you do get to choose how you respond to those thoughts and feelings when they arise. And when you change how you respond to thoughts and feelings, those thoughts and feelings tend to change. In the same way that when people respond to you differently as a person, you tend to change a little. That's exactly how your thoughts and feelings work too. I have a few podcast episodes that dive really deep into how to change your relationship with your thoughts and feelings. It truly is like its own whole deep dive topic in and of itself. So I'm gonna have those videos linked down below if you're like, how might I change my response? There are lots of options for you, links down below. Or there's option number 4, which is where you replace the existing reward with an equally rewarding but healthier behavior. So for example, you could create the coziest, cutest morning routine with the yummiest morning drink, create a beautiful cozy spot for you to sit, and make it feel genuinely rewarding to the point where you're like, I don't want to snooze, I want to get up and do my cozy morning routine. This only works when the replacement behavior is just as rewarding. You want to find a replacement behavior that you're obsessed with, that you're like, oh my god, I'm looking forward to that. If you want to do this whole process using a guided workbook, it's in my Plan Your Best Year Yet workbook. I'm currently having a Black Friday sale where everything in my digital shop is 20% off, including the Plan Your Best Year Yet workbook. And if you buy the Calm Productivity Pack or the Life Map as part of the Black Friday sale, you get the Plan Your Best Year Yet workbook for free. Get those for 20% off, get the Plan Your Best Year Yet workbook, live your literal best life. Shop the Black Friday sale down in the description below using the link. That sale ends on Fridays. Make sure that if you want to buy anything, you buy it by Friday. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you soon.